I saw the 5 foot, yeah, no, I see it, yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to invite everybody, or welcome everybody to our Planning Commission meeting. If you would please silence your phones, we'd appreciate it. I would like to recognize Christine Anderson from the Township Attorney and Jonathan Palin from the Township Planner and Ava Miller from Giffords Webster. So welcome to the February 17, 2026 Planning Commission meeting. With that, let's see, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Do roll call. We have Rick LaBelle.
Here.
Kathy Vosberg. Richard Brokart is excused. Brian Carr.
Here.
Ralph Jaworski.
Here.
James Klinowski.
Here.
Mark Renault.
Here.
Eric Heider. Carl Leonard is here. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting on February 3rd.
Support.
Motion by Carl, supported by Mark, to approve the minutes. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. I'd like to make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Support.
Have a motion by Carl, supported by, who supported that? Kathy? Motion by Carl, supported by Kathy, to approve the agenda as submitted. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. We do have public comments. If anybody wants to get up and talk about anything at all, you can. You've got 3 minutes. If it's about the public hearing, you'll have a chance to say something then. But if you'd like to come up for 3 minutes, more than welcome to. Anybody? No? Okay. So with that, we have a public hearing tonight. I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing.
Support.
Motion by Carl, supported by Mark, to open the public hearing for rezoning number 379. So what that's about is they're requesting to rezone 15.86 acres of property located north of 25 Mile Road, south of Gratiot Avenue, from C3 General Commercial to C3 General Commercial and RM2 Residential Multiple Family. Parcel number is 1509044510003. With that, Ava, if you'd like to,
We have to vote for the public hearing.
Hmm?
Do we vote?
You two vote for the public
To vote for the public hearing.
Made the motion. And
Oh.
seconded.
okay, sorry about that. So the motion to open the public hearing, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and the public hearing is open. And back to Ava.
All right, so I'll be looking at our review dated January 9th, 2026 for rezoning 379. Starting on page 2, the subject site is zoned C3 General Commercial, and the applicant seeks to split zone the property and rezone the eastern 2/3 of the site to RM2, multiple family residential, while the western third remains C3. The C3 district permits a variety of non-residential uses as well as single-family residential as a special land use, while the RM2 district permits 3.63 dwelling units per acre. Moving on to page 3, is the proposed zoning consistent with the master plan? The master plan's future land use map designates this parcel as multi-family density. The master plan describes this land use as densities ranging from 2 to 10 units per acre. Multiple family areas are intended to permit a more intensive residential land use by providing for various types of multiple family dwellings. Missing middle housing is envisioned within the multiple family and mixed use districts. The residential density plan identifies the housing density for this property as 5 to 9 dwelling units per acre. The RM2 district permits 3.63 dwelling units per acre. Moving on to page 4. The site has access to water but does not have a sewer connection. The wetlands map shows the presence of wetlands and hydric soils in the northeast corner of the site. Has the applicant provided evidence that the property cannot be developed or used as zone? No, they have not provided evidence as to why. However, the only residential type of use that could be permitted in the existing C3 zoning is single-family residential as a special land use. Rezoning is necessary for the developer to be able to propose any new multifamily dwelling. Is it compatible with surrounding uses? The proposed RM2 portion of the site is compatible with the surrounding parcels, which consist of a mix of residential uses. The parcels immediately north and south of the site are also zoned RM2, while the property to the east and part of the south, across from 25 Mile Road, is zoned A1, agricultural residential. Also south of the site, across from 25 Mile Road, is zoned C1, local commercial. The remaining C3 portion on the western side of the site could function as a transitional buffer between the M2 General Manufacturing District, zoning north of Gratiot Avenue, to the proposed RM2 portion of the site. The burden on 25 Mile Road and Gratiot Avenue is likely to not be greater with the proposed RM2 zoning designation than its current designation, but a full traffic study would be needed to determine the impact of change. The parcel is currently zoned as C3, and rezoning a portion of the parcel to RM2 would entail a less intense use. Is there other land currently available for this use? There are parcels directly north and south of the subject site with an RM2 zoning classification that are vacant, along with a parcel located further south down Gratiot Avenue on Carriageway Drive that has a parcel zoned RM2. Will the development of the site under proposed zoning be able to meet zoning district requirements? Both the RM2 and C3 portions of the site meet the minimum lot size requirements. Is rezoning the best way to address this request? The Planning Commission could consider allowing multi-family residential uses in the C3 district, considering single-family and two-family uses are already permitted in the district when a C3 property is directly abutting the residential district. Has there been a change in circumstances? The subject property has not had any development proposal since the master plan was adopted in May 2021. And then question 10, is the rezoning request consistent with the master plan for the area? It is consistent with the future land use map for the site as it is designated multifamily density. And the rezoning request is to rezone a portion of the site to RM2. However, leaving a portion of the site zone C3 is not consistent with the future land use. Is the proposed zoning district a logical extension of the existing zoning in the area? If rezoned, the request would extend the existing RM2 zoning located to the north and south of the site connecting the isolated parcel. And would approving the request grant a special benefit to a property owner or developer? The Planning Commission should review and consider whether or not this applies. And that will conclude. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the applicant, is the applicant here? And would you like to come up and present your information to us?
Yes. My name is Charlie Stapleton, representing Lombardo Homes.
There's a button on the left-hand side, I'm sorry, on the right-hand side.
On the bottom.
Can you hear me now? Okay. My name is Charlie Stapleton, representing Lombardo Homes, address 13001 23 Mile Road, Shelby Township, Michigan, 48315. We are requesting a split zoning of this parcel, keeping the hard corner of Gratiot and 25 Mile as C3 due to the heavy industrial on the west side of Gratiot and the commercial portion of the property on the south side of 25 Mile. We think this would leave us a good transitional zone buffer between the heavy industrial into the RM2 zoning. The remaining RM2 portion, we plan to rezone, matches the township's master plan, as well as the adjacent RM2 properties to the north. As of right now, we are a residential builder. We do like to build residential. We don't have a current plan under development right now, but there are a lot of wetlands on this site that we'd like to delineate, as well as do soil tests and other due diligence before we come up with a full developmental plan. The commercial property portion split would have a frontage of roughly 400 feet on 25 Mile Road and 562 feet on Gratiot Road, leaving the RM2 frontage on 25 Mile Road of 600 feet. That's all I have for you right now.
Thank you much. With that, if there's anybody out in the audience that would like to come up and speak on this, you got 3 minutes. You can talk about anything you'd like about this proposal. No one? Okay. I'll bring it back to you, but you probably are all set then. You don't have anything to add? Okay. With that, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Support.
Motion by Carl, supported by Mark, to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Would you mind turning that microphone back off, please? Thank you.
With that, we'll bring it up to the board. Kathy, would you like to start us off?
Thank you. Currently, the document said that currently there's sewer is not available there, and I realize there's no site plan or anything yet. Is wondering if it's the intent of the applicant to try to connect to the sewer?
As of right now, we do not know the situation with the wetland as well as the soils types out there, so we're not sure if we're able to connect to the sewer or not right now.
Yeah, it's not necessary for this, but I was just curious what you were considering. All right. That's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Eric?
You can stay up.
You might want to just hang out up there. There might be a few other questions. Thank you.
I know you're a residential development. Do you have any ideas what you're going to do with both properties if we do rezone it in any way? And are you going to keep it intact under Lombardo?
Yes, it would be Lombardo.
Back to my first question. Do you have any idea what you're doing if we do plan on rezoning it, what you plan on doing with the property?
We would like to build something residential there. We just need to do our due diligence on the property to figure out the capacity of what we could build there.
Ralph? James? Mark?
My 2 questions were answered.
Brian?
I have no questions.
And Rick, do you have anything?
One question, looking at your, the layout of the property, the plot plan of the property, there's the corners cut out. Is that corner where there's an existing home?
That's a corner for the right-of-way on Gratiot there. It's the 60.
Along 25 Mile Road, there's a corner cut out of it. There's a notch out of the corner of the property. Is that where that house is at?
Yes, I believe so. Yes, it's the adjacent properties parcel.
Okay.
That's just how it is.
That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And pretty much anything I was going to ask has been covered, so I don't have anything at this time. So do we want to vote on this tonight, or do we want to postpone for the next meeting? What's your pleasure? Tonight or later, Kathy?
I think we should postpone.
Postpone? It's been something that we've been consistently doing lately, so maybe postpone it till the next meeting. Can we get it on the agenda then for the next meeting? Should be able to. Is that what everybody wants to do? So,
Yeah, that's our
everybody
standard
agrees with that?
procedure, so-
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I was just going to add, our normal operating procedure is to wait 2 weeks after we close a public hearing, just to make sure there's nothing that comes up afterwards, so, yeah.
Yeah, we've been pretty consistent with that, so. So with that, if someone wants to make a motion,
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to postpone making a decision for recommendation to the regular board until our next meeting in 2 weeks.
we have a motion by Rick LaBelle, supported by Mark, to postpone a vote on this item for 2 weeks. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
We'll
Thank
see
you for your time.
See you in a couple weeks.
Yep.
Thanks. With that, we have our regular agenda item. And, excuse me, this is for Chesterfield 5 LLC site plan number 2025-07. M1, which is 4.331 acres north side of 21 Mile Road between Gratiot Avenue and Herb Drive, parcel ID 1509-350-352-006. So I believe this is coming back to us from a past meeting, so is the applicant here? Oh, there you are.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you probably should. I don't know if there's been any changes. I'm gonna pull it back, and see if Ava has anything to add, from Giffords Webster.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Or I don't, how much did we address before? I can briefly go over stuff.
Just kind of,
Intro-
yeah, just kind of run through it. Anything controversial, maybe.
Here, okay. All right, so I'm going to look at our review dated from November 25th, 2025. Let's see, any outstanding items? We'll look at the top of page 3 on our district standards. The applicant sought a variance from the ZBA at a recent meeting for the, I believe, the rear yard building setback. There was also the interior side yard building setback that did not meet the standards. The required setback is 50 feet, and the plan showed the 12-foot distance. As for screening, the Planning Commission should determine if the screening provided is sufficient. Let's see. Talking further about the screening, the rear yard screening, major screening is required in the rear of the property where the site abuts the HMR district, but the applicant is proposing that the existing wooded area will provide sufficient screening. Looking at parking lot landscaping, the applicant proposed 5 arborvitae trees and had the remaining 16 trees provided throughout the surface of the parking lot. The planning commission may wish to discuss if the location of the trees at the edge of the lot sufficiently meet the intent of the standards. For parking, the applicant should provide the parking calculation of 1 space per 300 square feet of floor area for office uses in both buildings. The applicant has provided 125 spaces, with 4 of them being ADA accessible. Based on the numbers provided, the applicant will be under the required amount of parking spaces, and the planning commission may wish to discuss whether additional parking is needed. Let's see. The applicant should provide a detail showing the proposed bicycle parking facilities. The planning commission may wish to discuss whether the location of an off-street loading and unloading zone may interfere with parking and circulation. They also may wish to discuss whether additional pedestrian safety measures are needed, and also consider the trash receptacle screening if the chain link fencing is appropriate. And then that'll wrap up my brief summary. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and go back to the applicant. Thank you.
Greg Icabelli, 5363 Christie Drive, Chesterfield, Michigan, 48051. And I guess I can just start right at the top of Giffords' review and just address each item at one at a time, start from the beginning. First, I'd like to just start that all the other departments have, we've gotten sign-offs from Fire, Road Commission, Drain Office will be a submittal for soil erosion permit. Looks like Selfridge is okay with it, and assessing just as requesting the easement. There already is an existing easement that has access to the cell tower in the rear of us, so the other departments have all been addressed. Starting with the review, the first thing is the setbacks. The rear yard setback and the side yard setback, the variances were obtained last week for those two. We've got the next note would be which parts of the roof will have rooftop screening. That'll be determined based on once the layouts are established with the tenants and we know the location of the rooftop units or any of the HVAC units or any other appliance that's on the roof. They'll be properly screened according to the ordinance. And one of the questions I have on that, if the does parapet count as screening? If the rooftop units are below the parapet line, does that count as screening? And again, we can address that once we got our unit locations and stuff. That's just one question I have. But we show the screening detail on the drawing with the siding, and all appliances on the roof will be screened via parapet or via siding. The next item would be the location of the trees. Use that word periphery. I've never heard that word before, but we've got the parking lot trees. We've got them proposed along the perimeter of the parking areas. We prefer to have them, especially with industrial buildings. Those landscape islands they become a nuisance with snowplows hitting them, mulch or stone or leaves all ends up in the parking lot. They end up in the catch basins, they end up in the drains for the trough drains for the truck wells. They become a nuisance, so we prefer to keep them off to the sides, if possible. That's how we've done them in the past. They do take up parking spots, so technically they would, if they weren't where we have them, we could have parking spots there. So we think they fall underneath the ordinance of being located within the parking area. The next item is the detail for, I handed out some literature earlier. The last page shows our site plan. Our site preparer forgot to include the detail for the bike rack. So we'll add that as part of the, if we would ask the planning commission to make it contingent on submitting the drawings and adding the bike rack to the, we show it on the plans, we just don't have the detail attached to the drawings, the actual bike rack. It'll hold, each bike rack will have a capacity of 5 bikes, and I believe we have to provide for 8, and we'll have 2, 1 for each building. The next item to address would be the screening between the residential to the north and the north of the property. We would like to ask the planning commission for relief on the major screening required, because it's not single family that we're butting up against. It would be the side yard of a large proposed retirement community, and there's a very heavy wooded existing buffer there between the parcels. The buildings will be approximately 300 feet, almost 300 feet apart, and there's a drain that separates on the other side of the existing woods, and then the neighboring property, as they finish up, they will have, they've got additional landscaping to provide as well. So there's going to be plenty of screening. There's a gap between the existing woods along our north property line. There's maybe a 20-foot gap of no trees on our northeast property line. So we would propose as a contingent on the approval, we would revise the landscape plan to show additional screening on that little gap area. That would help. The truck well for the building that faces the residential faces west, so it won't be an eyesore. I don't even think you'll even be able to see the back of that building from that residential, especially when the leaves are all on the trees and everything during the spring through fall. And we would make up the gap there in that corner and plant further screening to allow for that. And we think that would offset the major screening requirement. We'd like to ask the planning commission for that. The next item is that our proposed trees, the arborvitaes that are there are existing. We're not proposing those, and we're not including them in any of our additional tree counts that we're adding. We're planting an additional 15 trees along the east property line for that reduced side yard setback. But the arborvitaes that are there, they're planted all around the fence that separates the property from the cell tower. There's a fence line there, and those arborvitaes are existing, and they're along that fence line. We're showing them on our landscape plan, but we're not counting them. We're not using them as towards our tree requirement count. The additional, next item would be the additional parking. The Chesterfield Township ordinance, as the Giffords report states, it would need approximately 156 parking spots. We are providing 125. There's a small reduction because of the bike racks. I think there's a 2 additional reduction with the additional bike racks. We feel the 125 parking spots is more than enough for these size facilities. Basically, for the industry standard is usually 1 parking spot per 350 square feet of office space, 1 spot for 500 feet of manufacturing space, and then one parking space for every 1,500 square feet of warehouse area, inventory area, new materials and tooling areas where there's less employees. This comes in. We've got a blended ratio we're providing a blended ratio of 600. One parking spot per 600 square feet of the building brings it to a total of 125 parking spots, which includes 4 ADA handicap spots, and it's more than efficient for the size of a facility, the size of these 2 facilities combined. Next item would be the height of the curb. I guess my question here is, a standard parking curb is 6 inches tall. Are they asking for this to be reduced maybe to a 4-inch curb? Either way, we would have no problem with that, because I know my wife and my kids come home with their louvers hit, all their front lower fairings on their cars are all because of that reason. They're all hit, so I've got no issues lowering that. If that's what the intent is there for that, we can go either way with that. The next item would be the truck wells. These are double truck wells. We do show some parking in front of them, and they're double truck wells, which allows for more maneuverability. They can handle 2 trucks at a time. Most of these deliveries now are large cargo trucks and cube vans. There'll be occasional full semi-tractor trailers delivering product coming and going, and there's maneuverability to get them out, in and out easily. If there's, if there happens to be, if they're using every parking spot in here, they might have to have a few employees move a few spots. They'll, the tenants always adapt. There's never a perfect situation for truck maneuverability, and the tenants always seem to adapt to how the buildings are built and placed. We can get, I can provide the maneuverability layout. The engineer didn't provide that on here. He doesn't show it, but we can add that on there. The other issue would be any pedestrian safety measures. None of the man doors open up to any driving lanes, so the employees and visitors should everybody should be pretty safe. It should be a pretty safe and site once it's built out. The dumpster enclosure, the proposed dumpster enclosure is a masonry dumpster enclosure on all 3 sides. The front gates are proposed to be, the plan shows them as a chain link fence with obscuring on them. We would build those with cedar wood. We'd build the gates out of cedar wood, and we can make the approval contingent on that as well. We would modify that. This is just a mishap on our end here. We never build, the gates always have cedar wood on them. We don't build them with a chain link fence. And next item on here is the size of the offices. The drawing just shows an approximate office location on there. So again, we will get into the actual size of the office once the tenant space is determined. And most likely it'll be in that 10% range of the size of each building. That's the trend with if a building is 10,000 square feet, it'll have 1,000 feet of office. If it's 20,000 feet, they'll have 2,000 feet of office. That's usually the industry standard on that. And I think that covers everything. If anybody's got any questions, I can try to answer them the best I can.
Thank you. So we'll bring it back to the board and start with Kathy, if you got some questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through the chair to Mr. Acabelli, thank you for being here. Is there a sidewalk in front of, along 21 Mile? I'm not real good at reading plans.
Yes, there's a 10-foot proposed sidewalk.
Okay, thank you. And the proposal in the back of the buildings, the north side, the buffer between these buildings and the proposed residential, does that require, or have you done any, do you have numbers on what the density of that is and what the density of the trees in relationship to visibility from behind? I'm sure you're going to do whatever would work the best, but I'm just wondering if there's standards that you go by.
We didn't get an exact tree count, but it's a pretty heavy tree canopy that's existing there.
Currently existing, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that you wouldn't have to add.
Yeah, if there's more needed, we'll have no issues adding more
Right,
screening.
thank you. That's all I have right now. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Eric?
Yeah, a couple comments. I know you highlighted a couple things. One with the truck wells. The truck wells are, like you said, double truck wells that are 50 feet deep, but you only have 50 feet of access in the front. Would you provide some type of circulation simulation plan? Because if you have semis in there, the turn radius on a semi is quite large, and you have parking right in front. As you said, if that whole parking lot is completely filled, I can't see the turn radius meeting, these requirements of only 50 feet in relationship to front of both truck wells. And I don't know what the dimensions are on building 1, on the vertical going back into a perpendicular parking space and through there going either left or right. So I know there's a difference between semi-trucks, box trucks, in relationship to the turn radius on each one of those. But if you have a trailer on a semi that is 40, 50 feet long, that's going to be extremely tight on that 20-foot parking space in front and that 31 aisle space. Even though you have turn radius in front of the rear parking and the dumpsters, but I'd like to see that on paper with the engineer on a simulation plan on exactly how that's going to kind of work.
Yeah, they won't, if you're looking for a semi to be able to come in there and pull a complete circle, it won't show that. They'll show it pulling in.
Oh, I understand that. I
Backing up
understand.
into the maneuvering lane and then backing in.
100%. I don't expect
They're
the full
not-
radius.
It's not going to be, this site is designed to have the hammerhead for the fire department to be able to it has to have the T because a fire truck's got to be able to get in and out of here. And right where the maneuvering lane basically would hit where the dumpster enclosure is, that creates the hammerhead for a truck to turn around, for a fire truck to turn around
Okay.
in and out there. And I can have them simulate on here the traffic pattern.
Yeah, that would be great. Second thing on the split face, you have it stained. Is that pre-stained or are you going to stain it in the field?
Combination of both. It would be a combination of both.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then the roof screening, you have 6 inch or 6 feet tall for your roof screening, depending on what type of rooftop units are going to have compared to if you said, if a parapet is screening also, it is, but I think the screening around the units on all 4 sides would be probably a better situation in this call because going 6 feet on a parapet, that's quite expensive.
It depends on the location of the rooftop units. The screening doesn't necessarily have to be, you just need to screen the unit. We would prefer the parapet to act as a screen because it's less roof penetrations and it's long-term less maintenance. When you screen the rooftop units themselves, you're putting penetrations all
I
around
understand
the
that,
rooftop
yeah,
units.
completely, so.
They, like any flat roof, they go through a freeze thaw and there's always a
Wear
leak
and tear,
there.
yep.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Ralph?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Are you building these for speculation, or do you have tenants in mind?
We've got a tenant in mind, but we're under an NDA, so I
Yeah,
cannot
I
disclose
understand
anything.
that.
Yeah, I apologize.
No worries. Did I hear you say correctly that you had approval from the ZBA on the setbacks?
Yes, last Wednesday, they approved the 12-foot side yard setback and the rear yard 50-foot setback.
Okay. I'm just looking at this piece of property, and it looks like a big building for the property, and the parking lot doesn't support, the building itself, and it just looks big for that spot. And if 12 feet on either side, just hope that's not opening us up for future issues.
Thank you. James?
Yeah, with regard to the screening to the north, I went out there and looked. It needs some filling. There's some gaps in there, but if those gaps are filled, I think it'll be okay. That's all for me.
Thank you. Mark?
So I have a couple of items. One, Eric, you knocked off 2 of them, so thank you. Made that quick. But I will reiterate, I am concerned about the traffic patterns, especially with trucks, because, I don't see how that's going to be able to clear anything right there. I can't commit to anything to at least see that's plausible. Then the other question I have, which I think I may be stealing someone else's thunder, but the screening on the back, I know it says it needs to be filled in, but whose property is that on? Is that your property or is that somebody else's?
The screening crosses, it covers both properties. It comes over, the site plan that's submitted to you doesn't show the actual topography with the tree canopy on there, but it follows, the tree canopy follows all the way till about 40 feet from the property line.
Right, but where my question is really going, as Mr. Klanowski just said, is that there's some spots that probably need to be filled in. Do you have the legal right to put that in there? Is it on your property or is it somebody else's?
We would fill it in on our property. We'd fill in on our overhang.
And there's enough room for that with the parking and everything?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to be able to see that one too. So that's it.
Thank you. Brian?
So, I have quite a few concerns that I think we need to walk through. So, one, for site plan approval, the set's not complete for site plan approval. So I think some of our questions come from the fact that you don't have property lines. So typically there's a survey that's submitted with your site plan approval, and then there'll be an existing condition survey, and then you have a site plan, and that site plan then will take those geometries of the site, and then you then show your new build on that. So to like Mark's question, right? I had the same question in regards to like the north, because to me it looks like you're building your parking lot right, I'm assuming right up against the property line, but I'm like, that can't be right, because typically a 50-foot setback, there's no construction allowed within a setback. So if you were given a variance of 50-foot setback, technically that should be a green space. And then your parking and whatever you're building is outside of those setbacks. That's what a setback is there's typically no horizontal or vertical construction within that setback. So I definitely would need to understand the property lines in relation to your constructing the site, because it definitely appears to me that the site is being overbuilt, which is why we have ordinances with setbacks so that you don't overbuild on a site. But I understand what you're trying to do, and I think we could be flexible, but we definitely need to understand the property line in association with what you're trying to build, so we can understand that, because there needs to be some type of screening on the north side for sure. Regardless of what's existing, that's not your property, so at any time they can clear those trees, or those trees can get diseased and die off, and they have to be cleared, and at that point then there's no screening unless the residential properties do it. But that's why, again, the M1 is supposed to be responsible for that. So we would definitely have to see an expansion on your site plans. Another question I have is, obviously we talked about the loading docks, so I don't need to really go in there, but obviously a turning radius study is imperative to understand the constraints of the site. The screening wall, I'm well aware you said that you're waiting for units, but the screening wall cannot be the same as the parapet. They're two different things, and you're not going to have a parapet that deep. This type of building that you're building is probably a pre-engineered building, and parapets aren't very tall. So the screening will be required, and then obviously, we would have to understand where the screening is going to be, and then obviously validate the heights of that to make sure it actually screens the equipment itself. I didn't see any site bollards on your site plan, which is another thing that we typically like to see, is site bollards, because what we're looking at is traffic patterns, and then we're looking at the difference between vehicular traffic and pedestrian traffics. So I didn't see any type of bollards, and I also didn't see any type of parking lot blocks. So your parking, half your parking goes right up, obviously where there's a perimeter curb. They addressed, that was addressed already with Giffords-Webster. I don't have a preference in the height of your curb. But when it does park against the building, there has to be some type of a bumper, whether it's a highway rail or you're going to use parking lot bumpers. But I'm not sure how that works because of the depth of your parking spaces. So we're going to have to see that on a site plan to understand, are you putting in parking blocks, or you're going to put like a guardrail against the building? Because again, you're a developer, so you're familiar with the fact that cars are allowed to overhang, and that's taken into consideration on the depth of the parking spaces. So we're going to need to understand that to understand how that's incorporated into your site plan. The other thing regarding the site plan is your utilities. Typically, we, in particular, want to see stormwater management, right? Because you're responsible for the runoff of your entire property, and because you're basically making your entire site impervious, we're going to need to understand your site utilities. So typically, site utilities are also part of site plan approval, so we can see where you're pulling your utilities from. Are they, are they located in a proper space? Make sure they're protected, make sure people can't hit them, make sure vehicles can't hit them. And then obviously with stormwater management, that goes without saying, we need to understand how the water is, just how you're planning on controlling it, whether there's a retention system, an underground retention system, are you using, I'm assuming an existing stormwater line that's running along 21 Mile Road. By the way, we typically will see grades and elevations of your stormwater management, so we can just make sure all that is being properly addressed, and your adjacent properties are being protected. The other thing that I think is an issue is your photometrics. There's no way that we allow, I looked it up, but I think you should have your electrical engineer look it up. But you have 0 foot candles in several of the parking spaces, like 0.1 to 0. And there has to be some type of general lighting for safety, for pedestrian safety, as people are walking to their vehicles, especially in the winter months in particular. But you have 0 foot candles in several of those spots, and a lot of between 0.1 and 0 in many of the spots, which I'm pretty sure is below the minimum requirement for foot candles for safety reasons. So I think that needs to be looked at when you resubmit. And so I think that's all my comments for the most part. Again, I'm open and flexible because again, we try to promote as best we can development, but we do got to make sure that the minimum requirements are being met. And obviously we have to honor ZBA. So if ZBA approved, but I still think we need to, but again, that's why we need the property lines, because we definitely have to validate the north. It looks like the side setbacks you did build outside of the 12 and the 25, I think you're approved for, right? 12 and 25? 12 on the east, 25 on the west? Is that correct? Yes. Okay. Yeah. So when you update that, just make sure the property lines are in there so we can take a look at that orientation. And other than that, that's my comments. Thank you. Oh yeah, that was, why don't I let you do that one? It is on my list. I didn't. Yep.
Thank you. Rick?
Thanks again for coming in this evening. Being as Brian briefly touched on it, we recently went through giving developers, architects the opportunity to elaborate with the building materials. But in doing so, even in the industrial areas, we still do require brick on the front of the building, on the roadside of the building. You had made the statement that some of it will be stained, some of it won't be stained. And it's also part of our ordinance that I don't think has been adopted yet by the main board, but what we have proposed is that, it's always been in our ordinance that there's no painting. And if you're staining something in the field, that's considered painting. With that being said, you have to look at the front of the building. There is brick required to the front of the building. Secondly, on building number 2, on the west elevation, you show a man-door, egress door. And back to Brian's comments about parking blocks, if you've got a car parked up against the building, how are you going to get out of that egress door? Something needs to happen there so that we can make sure that all of the egress doors aren't blocked by a car up against the building. Thirdly, on page, and if you can just help me understand this, on page L1, you show the berm that's in the front of the building. There's a berm detail. And I'm not that bad at math, but it says there's a 10-foot on one side, 10-foot on the other side, and there's a 3-foot in between at the top of the peak. And it showed your overall dimension is 33 feet. Can you explain how that works?
The berm along 21 Mile Road is a requirement because of the residential homes
Yes.
on the south side of 21 Mile Road there. The berm is designed to be a one-on, it's designed to be a one-on. What we did is we centered it within the right-of-way easement. From the right-of-way to the building, it's centered in the setback. So that berm, it's designed so it can be, it can be cut pretty simple with a lawnmower.
I
with a
understand.
rider.
I'm talking about the berm detail on your drawing.
Okay?
It shows it's 33 feet wide, but your drawings, your dimensions are 10 feet. It's only 23 feet.
Oh, that's an error. That's a typo on the,
So
yeah, it's all 10
that's something that's
feet.
going to need to be addressed,
Yeah,
if you
that's
would,
a,
please.
yeah. Yeah, should be a 3-foot top, flat for the plantings. It should have the top of the berm should be flat, 3 feet. And then, yeah, he should be 15 and 15, not 10 and 10 on
Okay,
here.
thank you.
Yeah.
The next question is this, the 6-inch curb comment that was made by Gilfels Webster, Eva, if you could elaborate where that came from? The 6-inch curb?
I believe in the standards, it was never specifically said what the height of the curb should be. So I believe we just commented if the curb appeared to be too high for the planning commission, that you should consider for it to be lowered.
That's where I think it's coming from. Well, I'm looking at the curb detail on page C1. It shows the curb and gutter, but then you go up to the dumpster location, and it shows a 6-inch curb. Is that where the 6-inch curb is coming from your comments? I mean, it's inside of a dumpster enclosure. I don't think that the applicant needs to address that, is where I'm going with that. I mean, it's just a standard curb and gutter for around the rest of the site. I don't see a dimension of 6 inches on a curb and gutter around the site.
6-inch curb is a pretty standard. Most of the time, it's an engineering standard for the townships or the communities. My understanding is they might be requesting it to be a little lower, so the fairings.
It's never came up before.
On car, yeah, so the fairings don't.
I'm sure that what you have is fine.
Yeah.
Building materials, curb, radius, restore. That's all I have, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the applicant have anything else you'd like to add to any of the comments made?
Yes, I did not know that providing a topography and a survey were usually, the site preparer, he gets the information from the survey, from the actual survey, and he pulls that off, puts the meets and bounds on here. The topography, we've never gotten into that stuff with site plan approval as far as utilities. Water, sewer, it's on site there. That's usually handled at the next stage at engineering. Drainage and all that, the site there's a 21-inch storm sewer outlet that's been provided for on the site in the northeast corner there. That's where all the storm runoff will go to. The site will not have a detention basin. The storm outlet is sized for this property. That storm outlet, my understanding is prior to us owning this property was part of the shopping center property next door. When that was developed, it was split. This was split off of that, and that's why the 21-inch lead is there to provide the stormwater runoff. It's already been factored in for that. The drainage has already been factored in on that. The pipe, we call them pipe bollards, the site bollards. That's pretty standard that they're put at every overhead door. We usually provide them on all overhead doors and usually on the corners of buildings as well. Again, I don't know if that's a specific requirement that they should be shown on a site plan, but we can address that as well. Curbs against the buildings, we've not done that in the past where the cars park right up against the building. Again, curbs there just end up beat up, they end up settling, they end up getting hit by snow plows. I understand the comment. I've been doing this for almost 40 years, and I have yet to see a car hit an industrial building on the side, parking to it. So again, the lighting too, I'll look into the lighting, but, this building it'll have the proper wall packs, all the exit lights will be lit up, that's gonna have to be done by code anyways. And, so we'll make sure that gets addressed. And, curbs on the buildings, and then the utilities. We've, again, I didn't think we got into storm sewer designs for site plan approval. If that's something we need to add, we can go back and we can add that, but we very rarely get into the engineering at site plan approval. That's usually addressed at the next stage. In the masonry, has the ordinance changed that there is a requirement for face brick?
There always was. There always was a requirement for face brick in the building. Like I was saying, we lessened the requirement, giving architects the opportunity to be more creative with their designs. But it's always been a requirement, brick in the building.
Split face, the architectural block, it is considered a masonry product. Yeah, I can see the ordinance where it has the face brick or other aesthetically pleasing materials, decorative materials. Is there an issue with architectural block? The buildings built with architectural block look very nice. Are we being told we cannot do that? Do I have to come back with a different elevation?
Mr. Palin? I would say, yes, you have to come back with a different elevation. I mean, it is brick. Brick is required. Brick or better is required. Masonry, typically block. Masonry is on the other three elevations in the industrial areas.
So that ordinance did go in front of the board last week. It was published today, so it goes into effect in 7 days. And the schedule was clarified, so it does now state the minimum area of brick is 75%. And then the other 25%, there's a schedule of allowable materials.
Is it strictly face brick, or does it still have the language that allows the planning commission to make the determination?
As Mr. Palin stated, it is brick. We have looked at other opportunities for people to do something a little more creative. Block hasn't been one of them.
Does the one-piece masonry unit it is a face like what you see on a Home Depot or what you see on a Walmart, where it's a brick but it's a block too?
If you want to present something like that, please do. I'm not sure what you're referring to, but again, as Mr. Palin said,
Okay.
we will certainly look at anything. Can't guarantee our approval, but we'll certainly look at it.
We don't build anything ugly, by the way. If you drive around and look at any of our developments, any of our buildings, I don't think there'd be, gray and blue are our colors, and that's how we like to build our buildings. And it gives them a unique distinction. And the ones we built up in North Bay, very pleasing aesthetic looking buildings. The ones we finished on Herb Drive over there, we've just did a couple over in Shelby Township too. We keep our color themes. We like to keep our color themes the same. It makes it easy on the trades, and it makes it easy on everybody. But if we have to come up with something, we'll come up with something.
I don't think we're concerned about the actual design. I think it's more the material itself. Yeah, the design is great, but it's the material that, with our ordinance, yeah, which is different than other communities, but right now it's brick or better, so.
Yeah, we can achieve that. There's ways to achieve that.
Are you all set? Or did you have more?
Yes.
You all set then?
Yeah, I've got, I think we addressed everything. Just an answer, I'd like to get these drawings revised right away. Do I need to start getting the engineers involved already for storm sewer calculations and all that? I think that's the next step. I don't think that's here.
Mr. Chair,
I'm going to bring it back to the board.
the engineering design is not required to be submitted at this stage. We do require, we typically require a preliminary layout of utilities. But the applicant needs to understand if they're not showing stormwater management on the site plan, and then something changes, say Macomb County Drain Commission requires something and that changes that could impact their site plan, they'd be required to come back and with revised plans if there's an impact to the site design. But yes, the actual engineering design is not required at this stage. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify that.
No, we know that. That wasn't what I asked for. But I asked for what you had asked, what you said, which was the basic understanding of your site, right? So the survey, again, understanding your site parameters, how they relate to the adjacent properties, that's what we're just looking at the high end of it. I don't need to see your calculations or an engineering study or your design analysis, but we need to understand the constraints of your site and how they relate to your adjacent property owners. That's what we're looking at. So, because we've had properties where they have to add a transformer, and we look at that relation to where that transformer, where you're proposing it. Is it in the middle where vehicles go? Is it where pedestrians are at? Like, just, it's adjacencies again, always around vehicular and pedestrian, how they're separated, and the safety and the flow of your site. That's what we're looking for. So, hopefully that helps.
So with that, it looks like we've got some things that we're looking to come back with. So with that, I'll entertain a motion if anybody wants to come up with a motion and what we're looking for.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to postpone making a decision this evening, giving the applicant an opportunity to adjust his drawings up to 4 meetings.
I'll support.
We have a motion that was. We have a motion by Rick, supported by Eric.
Mr. Chair, before we vote, should we outline each one of those, or do you have everything?
Yes, I was going to ask for the same, so I
Yeah.
think it would be good to do that. Thank
I
you.
think we should I should outline all of the required
Make that part of the motion.
adjustments, make it part of the motion.
Everybody's on the same page with what,
First of all, the first item that I would like to include in the motion is, as Mr. Carr said, a full site plan drawing showing the property lines, showing the rear property line where the trees are at, so that we can decide whether or not a more substantial buffer needs to be placed between your property and the adjacent property. Secondly, revise the drawing to reflect the true size of the berm in the front of the building, because the drawings are incorrect on the drawing. Thirdly, you include on your site drawings the actual dimensions of the curb and gutter, so we have an understanding as if it's 6 inch, if it's 4 inch, what it is. Fourthly, is we're going to need to see flow on the site, how trucks are going to get in and out of here, how they're going to get in and out of the truck wells, pick up the dumpsters, making sure that if in fact there's a large vehicle, they have room to turn in your site. Next is the building material on the front elevation, which would be the south elevation of both buildings, needs to be updated. Was there anything else?
Parking
Oh, I'm
lot
sorry.
lighting?
The photometrics, update the photometric drawing to include lighting in areas where there isn't any lighting. Yeah, I just addressed that, a drawing to address that. Is there anything else anybody wants to include? Oh, the bollards, yes, include all your bollards, bollard height, as well as bollard color. And then lastly, a question that I didn't ask, if you could include on your drawing where the bike rack is going to be located.
It is on the drawings. We have
Scratch
to add the detail to
I
it.
didn't see it, scratch that. With that, I think,
Did we mention the parking blocks between the buildings? Is that
if you
part
could
of that?
also add what your intention is for, if you're going to be putting any kind of parking box up against the building, to make sure that the building is, first of all, allowing egress in and out of the door, as well as cars not hitting the building. I think I'm complete, Mr. Chair, thank you.
So we have We have a motion by Rick LaBelle with a list of items looking to show up at the next meeting on the drawings, and that was supported by Eric. Do we have continued support? Eric? Continued
Yes,
support?
yes, thank you.
Okay. And we're going to postpone this up to 4 meetings. So with that motion to postpone up to 4 meetings, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, one last thing, I think we should ask the applicant, would he be able to do it in 4 meetings with the survey and the engineering? Because that usually takes 2 to 4 weeks if actually a survey gets on, is hired. They're 2 to 4 weeks out, and by the time they do drawings, that might be more than 4 meetings.
We'll have it ready for the next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, with the topo and boundaries already done. We've
Okay.
already got it done. Yeah. Well, it's just turning the layer on the AutoCAD. We'll take care of it. We'll make these corrections.
Okay, great. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you at the next meeting then. Thank you. Next thing on the list is we're looking to discuss the data centers. And I brought it up at the last meeting that maybe we would form a committee. So if anybody wants to.
So what are you asking for?
Was
Well,
there a presentation from Dibbles this evening?
Do you have a presentation? So, you're gonna have something for the next meeting then. So what we could do is, if we're ready tonight, is to see if there's 4 people, I guess, Rich.
Maybe we could do it next meeting when Rich is here, because I think he might want to be interested.
No, he's already on it. Yeah, I was just gonna say, he's already put his hand up, so if there's 3 other people.
I know he voluntold me, so.
Okay. Yeah, it came up earlier, so, he volunteered you?
Yeah, he voluntold me.
Oh. And for this committee, 4 people, I'm gonna have to pass, on this one, so.
I'll do it.
So we got,
Eric?
we might have to have a lottery.
Wait, why?
So we know we had Rich, Brian,
Yeah, Mark and Eric. What's wrong with that? Oh, we want Mr. LaBelle too, right?
well, I don't know, because Kathy wants it, so we got more people than 4 looking to do
I thought
it.
she's a trustee, a board liaison.
She could be on it.
Mr. Chair, my interest was because I'm the trustee, this will go to the full board, and I think there's some things I can contribute related to that, that process, I think would be helpful.
Okay. And if anybody read the Macomb Daily this past week, there's been a few articles. And there's a couple other communities that are putting brakes on and doing a moratorium. So I don't know what all is going to come out of this, but so this is something for all of us to explore, and with the presentation and the committee, we'll figure it out.
I mean, are we limited to 4? Can
Yeah.
it not be 6?
No, you can't have a quorum. So out of 9, there can only be 4 people, just like on the other ones, when we did the master plan and the building products and the other ones, cannabis. I was on all of those, and we only had 4 of us, so we'll hold off and pick the 4 people at the next meeting. We can do that.
We can do it now.
You want to do it now?
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, I can step aside, I'm fine. Step aside. No, I was just told, Rich told me I had to be on it.
And he's not even here.
And he's not here to say no, so I guess his motion stands. Well, we know we have Rich, so beyond that, we need 3 other people.
If you need someone, I'm more than happy to. If there's too many people,
I'll do it as well.
draw straws, it doesn't matter. But I'm happy to
All right, so we
volunteer.
got Rich, Brian. I think it's good for Kathy to be on there. Like you said, that there's gonna be a lot of information. This is a big deal for the community, whatever we end up doing. So you want to be on it then? Yep. Good.
Yes, please. I'm wondering if we wanted to appoint an alternate in case somebody can't attend the meeting? Is that,
We never have before. Usually, the way the meetings were, they were spread out enough that everybody coordinated and was able to make them, so we
but then
could.
to get around, we'd have another subject matter somebody interested
Yeah.
in the wings.
Well, we need one more person as part of the 4. So we got Mark and,
Mr. Chair?
all right, and then, do you want to be an alternate in case?
I'm always willing to do whatever.
Okay.
I think Mr. Bell's, that's what he's done. He's built them.
Yeah, the thing is with Rick being on it is he's, a lot more familiar with probably most of us, so,
I mean, I've been on the other committees. We're gonna have, I'm sure that whatever's presented, we'll have conversation as a general group, and I can put my 2 cents in then.
okay.
I mean, but I'm always willing to help.
Well, we
if
got
they
the
need
4.
us.
We want to stick with the 4 we just picked. We got Rich, Brian, Kathy, and Mark.
Eric's interested too, and I don't have, why don't we why don't we just finalize it 2 weeks from now, or in the next meeting? Can't we just finalize?
And then maybe in the meantime, if anybody wants to talk to each other, we can do that.
You have
So-
your list, you have your list of interested people. Let's just
so
wait
it's
till
a
next
TBD
meeting.
at this point. We
There you
know
go.
who the 4 are, and then we'll just go from there. We'll tell Rich he's out. Yeah. No show. Sorry, should have came to the meeting. Okay, so we can do that. We have planning commissioners' comments. If anybody has anything they want to add to this meeting? Left, right, everybody's good?
Mr. Chair, I mean, I did do quite a bit of research on data centers. If in fact, does anybody want to have anything to think about over the next few weeks, or do you want to wait?
I'd say we can wait, then we
Okay.
can hear from Ava, and then we can all just kind of jump into it from there.
Sure.
So, appreciate it, though. Well, with that, looks like we're at the end of the meeting, so I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:15.
Second. Support.
Motion by Carl, supported by Mark. Motion to adjourn the meeting, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Good meeting. Thank you.